Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited. Finally, I made it here on YouTube. I know you guys have been badgering me for, I don't know how long. It's got to be over a year, maybe 2 years that I said I'd get on YouTube. Now I'm finally here. For those of you who have been loyal with me on Hiloka and Clubhouse, thank you. And this is awesome. Let's get started on this new part of our journey. For those of you that are new to my community, I'll tell you who I am. I'll tell you who I am and what I do and how I'm different. Believe me, I'm very different. And also how we are going to go about this in the coming weeks and months and years. This is going to be great. I'm looking really forward to this in a big, excited way. So let's get started. Yes. All right, as I said, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me and who I am and what I'm doing here. My name is Athar. I'm a native speaker of English, obviously, and I've grown up in the United States pretty much my whole life. Not my entire life, but I'll tell you more about that later. I am a teacher of English, and also I'm very experienced in the language professionally and having used it, explained it and taught it for a long time. Taught thousands and thousands of students all over the world in Clubhouse and Hiloka, and I'm looking to now do that here on YouTube. So thank you for being here. Now, as far as all those things that you want to do, that you might be able to benefit greatly by being part of this community, let's talk about that. You want to build up your IELTS scores? You want to improve your IELTS score? You want to be able to speak more comfortable, fluent, natural English? You want to improve your pronunciation? Maybe you want to improve your vocabulary. And what about your confidence? Speaking more confidently in front of people. The big challenges that you often have is this idea of improving pronunciation, improving your grammar, improving it, and also overcoming that obstacle of not being able to remember a word. Or maybe it's just building up that confidence. This is exactly the kinds of things that I help people with. And I've been doing it for a long time. So if you're ready to improve in those areas, if you want to really gain an understanding of what it means to be fluent, you're in the right place. And then it's really about being able to continue to understand and grow within the language, which is always changing, so that you can understand the nuances, the subtle details of the language that may be presented in a movie, a documentary, a video, whatever it might be, so that you can not only understand everything you want to understand, but also that you can communicate. What is fluency? It is not what some people think it is. And it is not about simply sounding like an American or sounding like a British person or sounding like an Australian or somebody who's from a native country speaking English. Why do I say this? Being native in itself doesn't make you fluent. And sounding like an American or sounding like a British person, whatever that is, whatever that means, because there's no one accent in the United States. There's many, many accents. There's many accents in Great Britain that are English and British, and Irish and Australian. There's just so many within those countries that it kind of loses its meaning. So what I want you to understand is that it's not about how you sound that is important. It's about how well you communicate, so that you can communicate conversationally in various settings. That is something that takes time, and it's more than simply pronouncing a few words. And that takes time, that takes effort. It takes some commitment. It takes some consistency. And all of those things, whether we're talking about vocabulary, we're talking about grammar, we're talking about pronunciation and confidence, all of that, these are things that take time to evolve and develop. It doesn't happen very quickly, right? This is something that does take time. Now, that being said, we want to have fun doing it. We want to be able to do it in a way that engages us, which is why I like to tell people, find things that you enjoy reading. Find things that you enjoy learning about, whether it is about dance or cooking or engineering or science or medicine or law or politics or sports. It doesn't really matter what it is. I want you to find something that you are interested in and find a medium in which that topic is being discussed or explained, right? That could be a podcast. That could be a documentary. That could be a YouTube video where they're talking about that subject. Maybe there's some people who are talking about cricket in Great Britain or in Australia. There's all that. You can find speakers of a native language talking about pretty much anything. And so find those topics, read material that is describing those things that you enjoy. You'll come across words, phrases that are unfamiliar to you. This is how you're going to sort of build up that vocabulary. Let me pause for a second and tell you that what I'm going to be doing over the coming days and weeks is going to cover a lot of subjects. It's going to cover all those issues: pronunciation, grammar, the details of the grammar, the verb tenses, pronouns. What does it mean? What do all the different parts of speech mean, and what are their functions? What are the elements of language? Speaking, reading, writing, and listening. Yes, listening is also a skill. So all of those 4 skills are something that we'll focus on. We'll focus on all those 4 skills, all the different aspects of being able to produce the language, as well as also to comprehend or to receive the language, right? So we have reception skills, production skills. Speaking and writing are production skills, and reading and listening are receptive skills. Does that make sense? So what I want you to do is focus on not only all those skills, but all the different ways that we can build up the components of fluency within those 4 dimensions, right? Our grammar, our pronunciation, our vocabulary, our all those elements, and being able to do that in a way in which we can speak conversationally in different settings, different environments. I'll have, in the coming weeks and months, many videos on many topics. And this is why it's going to be important for you to be part of this community that is going to continue to grow and develop. We're not just going to be reading some old boring material or 2 people having a boring conversation. This is going to be interesting, fun stuff. I will also have YouTube live sessions. I will have a lot of different activities in which we can engage, and also different platforms in which we can communicate. My Telegram group, also my Facebook group, both of those two communities will be more and more active in the coming weeks and months, which you can also subscribe to. Go ahead and check it out. You'll see the links under that profile for all those references to be able to follow and be part of our community. Now, how am I different? Well, let me tell you a little bit about me. Maybe this is something I should say right up front. Who am I? What is this strange person, Athar? And he thinks he knows everything about English. He's a teacher, so he says. And he's, in the U.S. With lots of different skills. What does he do? Who is he? What is he all about? Now, I have lived in the U.S. almost my entire life of many years. In that time, I have not only immersed myself in the language, I have used it intellectually, professionally, socially, and economically to be able to engage in business and commerce. And I've also traveled the world internationally as part of my job in the U.S. government. I was an international affairs advisor, and I traveled throughout the Middle East and Europe and other countries. And also throughout the United States, which is also a very, very diverse country, by the way. And in those few decades in which I was working, I gained a lot of experience and knowledge about not only how to use the language effectively in all those situations, but also how to understand the differences in the diversity and appreciate that diversity in which language exists. So this is something I really began to think, wow, this is an incredible tool. It is a very powerful, incredible tool for you so that you can achieve all your goals, whether they're economic goals, your personal, social goals. Maybe you have goals related to your job and career. These are all about you having the right tools to achieve your dreams. And what I can help you with is to build up those skills, those abilities, so that you can engage in whatever you want to engage in your future, so that you can be successful as a doctor, as a lawyer, as an artist, as a musician, engaged with others in those various communities, whatever profession you have, as an athlete, as a car mechanic, as a truck driver, as someone working at a restaurant. It doesn't matter what your profession is. All of these professions, every single one, requires you to communicate effectively. And last but not least, when we talk about those business environments, there are certain ways of communicating within a business environment. And we'll also have some videos and sessions related to business English. So the sky is the limit, which is an idiom we use to say, There is no limit to what we can do. We can achieve so much here within this community. And I'm very excited about it because in the last few years in which I have been building this community in Clubhouse and Hiloka, I have made friends with some amazing people and built up a wonderful, wonderful community of learners and teachers as well. Some of my best friends in those communities are also fellow teachers. And we correspond, we collaborate, we work together so that we can also help students collaboratively, meaning together. We also work together to help students. And I believe in collaboration, whether it is with other teachers as well as other students learning from each other. So let's use those principles of learning and to use it effectively so that we can go very far as you want to go, as far as you want to go in whatever capacity you want. There is no limit. And I want to finally end on this note. One of the most important things about learning is your mindset. And it's one of the most underappreciated things in the world, right? We just think about, especially for English language learners, they think they just want to learn those phrases. They want to learn some basic vocabulary. They want to be able to learn the right grammar so they can speak and they can talk and they can communicate and they can conduct themselves in an interview properly. But one of the most important aspects of all of this, and this is something that I only began to appreciate when I worked in my professional life for more than 30 years, 35 years. During that time, I found that those people who were the most successful were really the ones that had a particular character, a certain mindset. It wasn't so much about the specific skills, because the skills are something they acquired, but it was their mindset that really made the difference. It was about how they approached learning, how they saw themselves, how they valued themselves, their identity, or actually how they chose not to compare themselves to others. The idea of having a growth mindset is so important, and I'll talk about that in one of my future videos as well. I want to make this kind of interesting for you. So, once in a while, I kind of throw in some, let's say, some odd little things. I know English very good. Very good English I teach you. And I'm the great English teacher. I learned so much. I learned in Lucknow when I was there. And this is something I am very highly respect for. Now, if I spoke that way and you said, Athar, you're making fun of somebody. I said, no. I'm actually telling you that a lot of the things that I've picked up in terms of these mimicking skills and impersonating skills are all from listening. And it's the idea that listening is so critically important in the process of learning. We need to listen to be able to learn to do things, to adopt these skills. And if I'm speaking that way, or if I'm speaking like this, somewhere down in Texas, I'll say, hey, y'all doing all right? Everything good with you? How about them Cowboys? Yeah, they didn't do too well this year. Those Commanders just killed them. But I still like them. They're America's team and all that. But those people from New York, they're weird. They're damn weird. I don't know. Those New Yorkers, they're strange. And then you say, hey, I don't know what you guys are talking about. You're telling me we're weird. Hey, we're not weird. We're just a bunch of wise guys. We like pizza and we like a good salami from a good deli. You get to a right deli, you can get some really good salami. And I like my pizza, and I also like, once in a while going out and hanging out with the guys on a barbecue. There's all these things that I do sometimes that you never know what you're going to get. And I want you to know that the diversity and beauty of the English language is just amazing. There's really no limit to what she can do, if you think about it, right? So it's just lovely. It's just absolutely lovely. Now, can you do some of these things? Is it important to do some of these things? No. But here's the thing. Whatever you do in life, whether it is to become an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or an artist or working in marketing or advertising and working in IT, what's important here is that you enjoy what you're doing. I chose to end my career. I chose to end it early, a few years ago, because I wanted to do something that I knew would have a positive impact on people. And I knew that there were a couple things I wanted to do. I wanted to stay healthy. I wanted to, try to be active as possible as I, quote unquote, retired. These are quote symbols. We say that sometimes. Oh, I'm a quote. These are quotes. So, retired, right? So when I retired, I realized, I didn't want to be at home doing nothing. That's the last thing I wanted to be able to do. And I was physically active, engaged in sports and things like that. So I thought, before I retired, I was getting more and more into physical fitness and health. So why don't I become a personal trainer? And teach fitness classes. And I got the certifications and training to do that. I became a personal trainer. I became a fitness trainer. And I'm still doing that now. I'm still teaching fitness classes today, and I have personal training clients. So that's something I continue to do because I know doing that is going to have a positive impact on someone's health and a positive impact on people's lives. And I'm able to communicate them. I've talked to them about the mindset of having a healthy lifestyle and eating well. Not eating perfectly, just like we don't have to speak perfect English, but eating generally well. Like you need to have generally good grammar, right? So there's that. There's a lot of similarities in terms of the way we would maintain a healthy body and also a healthy mind and a creative mind and an active mind. So all those things are related. And the other thing I wanted to do was to teach English, to use the skills that I have so that other people's lives can be better. What could be better than that? So here I am doing that, and I love it. I enjoy it. I know what I'm doing is having an incredibly positive impact on people. And it's giving them some really extremely valuable tools to make their life better now. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but right now. And I can do that. And because I have that ability, it is my responsibility to share it. And that's why I'm here. So enough said about this. This was a very long video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. There's more stuff coming. A lot more stuff. We're going to be talking about all those things I mentioned in greater detail. And I'm going to do a deep dive. And when I say deep dive, that means I'm going to go more and more intensely into a subject to understand and appreciate the language. And it's something that's always changing, so it's hard to stay on top of it. Don't worry about it. The important thing is that you do your best. Every day, do your best. We're going to get better at English, at being a better person, and achieving our goals. Are you ready? Let's go. Are you guys out there? Anybody there? Huh. All right. If you're there, write it in the comments. If you have anything you want to say, and be polite, be respectful, be respectful.